Based on the experts and the review of the facts, the inclement weather, the time frames, and their age, the likelihood that they're alive right now is very low.
Breaks my heart.
Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Thursday morning, the 8th of May. And yesterday we had some heartbreaking news in the case of the missing siblings from Lansdowne Station in Nova Scotia, Canada. Lilly Sullivan, just 6 years old, and Jack Sullivan, only 4. They've been missing now since last Friday, around 10 AM. The alarm was raised that Lilly and Jack were missing. But it's always heartbreaking when the massive search effort that goes on for especially young kids, and you know that every second counts. If someone is out there, wandered away, got lost, injured, time is of the essence. So I kind of felt it was coming. I said yesterday a video that it's only a matter of days before they decide to scale back the search. And yesterday the RCMP issued a press conference that they were scaling back the search because there's very little hope that these kids are alive. Look, if it is true that they've wandered away, they're no longer alive. They're just not. But there's been no sign of them whatsoever. Lilly is said to have taken a backpack with her. No sign of that. No sign of anything. They've just vanished off the face of the earth. People don't just vanish until they do. So many cases that I've covered on this channel and my other channel, Michelle Walks, where somebody just walks away and is just gone. And sometimes they could be missing for months or even years. And look, I've covered a lot of cases where people are found months, even years later, very close to home. Searchers have missed them again and again and again. It happens. The recent one, Tyler Goodrich, he was found something like 900 yards away from his home. The amount of searches that have been done by cops, search teams, volunteers, and they all missed him because he was up a tree. Nobody looked up. And this is no shade on the searchers who get scratched up, they get injured, they get bitten. It's no shade on them because they try their very best. But in circumstances where an area is so dense and there's hurricane damage in those woods from a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of fallen trees and debris and just really, really difficult terrain to search. So after 6 full days, they've decided to scale back the search and concentrate on the investigation. Now, at the press conference, the representative from Major Crimes was very tight-lipped about the investigation, and that's not surprising because they're not going to give away any investigative leads, but it has fueled the speculation that maybe they're close to an arrest and the parents are going to get arrested. Now, we do know that the parents have been interviewed. We know this for an absolute fact. They'll have been interviewed multiple times. And Stepdad, Daniel Martel, is helping cops with their inquiries. He's on the ground searching. I know a lot of people find him very suspicious. Look, I've got my reservations. I'm not going to speak without any evidence, but I don't feel right about this. There's something else, I think, that we're not being told. That's just my feeling that I get. I'm going to play part of this piece here just 4 hours ago.
Stepfather says they went missing last Friday, wandering from home while the parents slept in another room. Since, the RCMP has teamed up with a number of agencies, scouring a 4-square-kilometer area around the home on foot and in the air. An area roughly the size of downtown Halifax, but heavily wooded and filled with downed trees. Terrain difficult to navigate for rescuers, let alone children. So far, not a single sign of the kids has been found beyond a small boot print near the house. Still, the RCMP says a smaller search will go on, with the force's major crimes unit continuing to play an active role. They aren't ruling out the possibility of a crime.
We're going to continue pursuing any leads or information that comes in.
Since the kids went missing, their stepfather says he's hardly had any contact with their mother. She took their 1-year-old to stay with her mother after a fight between the families broke out. He says people accuse him of being involved in the children's disappearance. When contacted, the mother and her family only told CBC News police advised them not to speak to media.
I'm absolutely exhausted at this point after going through 6 days of virtual hell. It's absolutely crazy. So I'm just fighting for Lilly and Jack.
It's a case that has really captured the attention of this community and beyond, with many holding out hope for a much better conclusion.
When the RCMP says they're scaling back their search, what exactly does that mean?
Well, the first major thing is reducing the amount of resources on the ground. So personnel, but also equipment. The RCMP says it's also zeroing in on specific places they have already searched to ensure nothing was missed. And police say they are considering bringing in cadaver dogs. That's something that people are hoping won't be necessary.
Yeah, they said at the press conference during the Q&A that they hadn't used cadaver dogs. I found that very strange, honestly. Normally, they have cadaver dogs on scene within the first week, like the majority of the dogs, in the initial stages when they're hoping for a rescue, that these two kids have just wandered away and they're in the woods somewhere, maybe injured, very scared, hungry. It's search and rescue that's on the ground, and the dogs that are used there are live scent trackers. So they're tracking live people, giving a scent from that person. They try to locate that scent. If they locate that scent, then they follow it. And apparently those live scent trackers did get a scent going down the driveway, but it stopped at the road. And Lilly and Jack go to school. They walk down the driveway, presumably to get on the bus, and they probably play in the driveway. So you would expect Lilly and Jack's scent to be in the front yard. Live scent trackers haven't got a scent in the woods anywhere. As far as we know, there's no sign of them whatsoever. It is like they've fallen off the face of the earth. Now, the parents have said from the jump that they believe Lilly and Jack have been abducted. I find it really unlikely, honestly, in that area. There's very few properties, and I can't imagine that the road that runs the front of their house, Garlock Road, is that busy. And while it's possible, it's always possible, but the probability of it is minute. So major crimes presumably are looking at each individual who has contact with Lilly and Jack very closely. Those are Malaya Brooks-Murray, their mother, who isn't talking to the media. She did one interview on Saturday, and since then there's been this family bust-up, and she left with the baby to stay with her mother. I thought she was living on a reservation or a reserve. Apparently she doesn't, so I don't know. It's been said in the media that she was, but anyway, we just know that Malaya is miles away, which raises eyebrows. But Daniel is hands-on, and he's been doing his own searches. There are other people who live on the property, and in a moment I'm going to show you some pictures that have been taken from drone images of the back of the property. And I found something really surprising, but I'll get to that in a second. I'm going to read this article here. The house is just silent. Stepdad speaks out as exhaustive search for missing Nova Scotia kids enters 5th day. So this is from a couple of days ago. He explains exactly what went down the morning that they disappeared. Martella's been dating the children's mother for 3 years, and they have an 18-month-old together. Martel said Lilly and Jack never go into the woods by themselves. He describes them as vulnerable and autistic. I don't know whether they are autistic or not. They're verbal. That was something that was, I think, incorrectly reported in the media for whatever reason early on. They are verbal. And there is a little video that was on Malea's Facebook before she deleted her account. And we've got little Lilly and Jack here at a birthday party. Okay, but Daniel goes on to say, we never cross the road. We have cabins we built in the woods, and that's where usually, as far as we take them, he said. And someone reported on a Facebook group, I can't find the quote from wherever they got it from, but apparently in his interviews with the police, Daniel has been helping the cops go to specific areas where the kids play, like with him. Martel says he and Malaya Brooks Murray asked Lilly and Jack to quieten down on Friday morning to let the baby sleep. I just don't like this, I don't. We were in the room laying down, me, Malaya and baby Meadow, and Lilly poked her head in a couple of times. I'd seen she was wearing a pink t-shirt. We usually don't like them to be too loud because they're going to wake up the baby. We want the baby to get as much sleep as possible. Look, 18-month-old babies, they do need their sleep, obviously, but telling the kids to quieten down, alright, maybe they're being loud, maybe they're being rambunctious, but apparently this was like 9:40 or so when Daniel realised they were missing. But look, kids are going to be rambunctious in the morning. Maybe they were bored, maybe they were hungry, and they said that the kids could go out of the sliding glass doors into the backyard. And again, I'm going to show you the backyard in a minute, and I'm surprised by it. He estimates it took up to 20 minutes to notice that the children were gone. So I told them to quieten down. And then Lilly, she went out of the room and I could hear Jack out in the kitchen. They were probably hungry. They were probably trying to get their own breakfast. A few minutes went by. I heard nothing. Got up, went out into the kitchen, checked everything. I'd seen they weren't there. Checked their bedrooms and they weren't there. So I looked out in the backyard. That's the only other place they would go. And their boots were gone. The sliding door was closed. Usually they don't close the door. I usually have to remind them to close the door over and over. So, why on this particular morning had they closed the door? Did somebody go out with them and close the door? Now, on that property, there is Daniel's mother and his brother. Now, his mother's spoken out, don't know anything about his brother though, so some people are questioning the brother. Like, how much does he get involved in the kids, if at all? Was he at work? Does he have an alibi? I've got the same questions. So, maybe they went out, closed the door because they knew they were going to go for a walk and they didn't want the parents to know. Like, Lily's supposedly taking her backpack. Okay, so what have they done? Like, packed food and gone for a picnic? Only 6 and 4. Apparently they've got learning differences, so... I don't like it. I don't. Anyway, he jumped in his vehicle and started looking for them. I searched every dirt road, searched every culvert as fast as I could until I got back, seen the RCMP there. And they wouldn't let me back in the woods until there was a guy dressed in military gear. He allowed me to jump back into the woods. So I jumped the back fence and continued my search. The house is just silent. There's no magic in the air. It's just silence. That's really all I can say. Look, if he's innocent, completely innocent, I'm heartbroken for him. But there's something else about this story that I feel that we're not getting. All right, these are pictures that somebody posted on the Facebook group yesterday. So let's take a look at these. So that's the trailer they live in. That's the mother and brother's trailer. And you can see that we've got fences here. This really surprised me. This is all fenced off. So we've got the chickens, this shed thing. This is the mother and brother's area. And I thought, well, how have the kids got out of the back if it's fenced in? This really surprised me. I thought it would be open at the back. But no, it's all fenced in. There's the sliding doors. Should have had a lock on it, but... And then I wondered if the fence was broken in any area. So I tried to find a picture where we see the fence. So that fence is intact all the way down there. It's intact all the way down the other side. How have they got out? There's potentially an opening there where there's no shadow. Yeah, there is, look. So that's where they've got out. Unless there's a gate there. Right, if there's a gate, obviously there has to be a gate in the fence somewhere. If there's a gate there, was the gate left open? Can the kids open the gate? I mean, look, if they have wandered away, then the lack of locks on the door and on this fencing is the reason why they've been able to get out. And it's easy to say, you know, close the stable door when the horse has already bolted. It's easy to say, but Major Crimes are treating this as suspicious, but they say that they treat all unexplained disappearances as suspicious, which is understandable. But I think the investigation part of this case now will kick up a gear. I think they'll want to interview everyone again. Daniel has said that the house has been searched, the entire property's been searched, dogs have been all over the property. I know some people have been asking about that. So the kids are not on the property. I think that's very clear. But that Friday morning, what made them go into the woods when they never normally go there? Were they looking for food? Were they hungry and went out looking for food? I'm just speculating. I'm just spitballing here. Because something's off about this case and I can't put my finger on it. Without casting aspersions, without pointing fingers and blaming people, accusing people, and I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I don't see the evidence for accusing people of murder, but I'm worried. I am. I really am. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments and I'll see you in the next video. Bye folks. Good girl.